Hello everyone, Alec Elger the SideQuest Gamer here, and I know I was never much of an E3 kind of guy, but after viewing a lot of footage from Star Fox Zero, a game I'm highly anticipating, it may not actually be a chronological sequel to the Star Fox franchise. Let me tell you, I love the original for the Super Nintendo, and I especially love Star Fox 64 for the Nintendo 64, but Zero may perhaps be another reimagining or revisitation of that style, kind of like Mad Max Fury Road, where it's kind of a remake, but kind of not. It's a sequel, but it's kind of not, because the story never specifies as to which it is, but contains elements that suggest it could either be a sequel with other elements saying it's not. The best video game example of this would be Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Ignoring the timeline from Nintendo, it plays like A Link to the Past and has many elements extremely similar to A Link to the Past, along with other elements that suggest it's a reimagining and not a sequel. Like in Thieves' Town Dungeon in the Dark World of A Link to the Past, you fight Blind the Thief, but in Lorule of A Link Between Worlds and its version of Thieves' Town, you fight Stall Blind, with Stall meaning skeleton and Hylian meaning he's like that from his previous defeat in A Link to the Past, but perhaps it's a reimagined version of Blind the Thief where he was always like that, especially since Lorule is not the Dark World. Or it is, or it could be a remade version of the Dark World. Same goes for the many characters of Star Fox 64 showing up in a similar manner in Star Fox Zero, like that monkey riding that mech on Star Fox 64's Corneria is on Star Fox Zero's Corneria, this time piloting a spaceship instead of a mech. Another would be Sector Alpha on Zero, being that game's version of Sector Y from 64. There's the fleet with Andross's face fighting the Cornerian fleet like in Sector Y, but it's vastly different. There's also the desert planet Titania, where in 64 Slippy crash landed on it and you had to rescue him, but instead of Slippy, this time you have to rescue Peppy, who crash landed on it. Although Star Fox Zero doesn't appear to be a total remake because there's new areas like Area 3, but if it's like a Link Between Worlds in terms of direction, this game could be one of the best games of the 8th generation. Although I would love to see a remade version of Area 6. That level was so insane on the 64 version. Just imagine a reimagined version of that level. After all, Star Fox 64 was itself a reimagining of the original Star Fox for the Super Nintendo, where they changed Andross's final boss appearance from this to this. And also, Fox's backstory from the original Super Nintendo game was changed in the Star Fox 64 game, because in the SNES original, his father went missing and was last seen in the Great Black Hole. But in 64, we know that Fox's dad was killed by Andross. And Titania was changed from a frozen desert planet on the Super Nintendo original to an arid desert planet on the 64 remake. Although Zero appears to keep most of the changes on 64, it does make its own changes as well, but either way, as long as the gameplay is great, they can do what they want. I would love to see a reimagined version of 64. I mean, I don't really mind if it's a remake, if it's a well done remake, because, I mean, I'll be honest, I love the Resident Evil remake more than the original Resident Evil. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay awesome.